Hello, I'm Brian Marks, one of the partners at Knopman Marks Financial Training. I'd like to give you some guidance on preparing for the Series 3 examination. You should expect to commit about 50 hours of studying to this exam over the next 4 to 5 weeks while working full-time. The very first step is to tear open that FedEx package, tear open that textbook, and start reading it. And I'll stand here and wait until you're done reading the book. No, I'm just kidding. But in reality, the first step is to read through the book. Let's start by clearing up some of the specifications about the Series 3. The test itself is 2.5 hours long. There are 125 total questions on the exam, of which 120 are graded. There are 5 experimental questions on the test. You're not going to know which ones they are, though, so you have to answer all 125 questions. One of the things that's unique about the Series 3 is that sometimes it can be challenging to finish the test. So as we get into the training program, we're going to talk a lot about not only calculating the right answers to the questions, but setting up the questions properly so you can focus on your pacing. What's the best way to prepare for the Series 3 exam? Well, the very first step, as I mentioned earlier, is to read through the textbook. When you're reading, don't worry about retention of the content. Retention comes later when you work through the practice exams. The focus of the reading is comprehension and exposure to the information. You're reading the book almost like a novel, a bad novel, but a novel nonetheless. Second, you're going to attend a program. You can either participate in one of our live classes or you can watch our on-demand lectures. When you are listening to the program or participating in the program, we're going to focus a lot on setting up the questions appropriately to ensure that when you get to the actual exam, you're able to finish in the allotted time. The focus of the class, additionally, is on helping to work through the most difficult concepts and the most important concepts on the test. And finally, as with any other regulatory exam, you're going to bring lots and lots of practice questions. We suggest completing at least 700 total practice questions. When you're doing practice questions, you should do at least 500 just on the market knowledge and at least 200 just on the rules and regulations. Because the way the grading system works is that although the passing score is 70%, you need to score 70% on each of those sections individually in order to pass the test. If you pass one and fail the other, you fail the entire exam. So that's why when you're practicing, you want to work on the questions individually. What are some best study practices? As I mentioned earlier, you should expect to commit about 50 total hours of preparation. That's usually over a period of 3 to 5 weeks while working full-time. This is not a weekend-only study approach. I recognize you're working full-time and it's not easy, but if you're only studying on the weekends, what happens is you end up moving backwards during the week. The minimum time commitment is at least 30 minutes of studying every other day. I'd rather have at least an hour every day, but the minimum is 30 minutes at least every other day, and then more on the weekends. And again, as you're studying, it's important to focus on the setup to the questions and how to get to the right answer in a timely fashion. That's really an undercurrent of your entire prep. If you're getting the questions right, but you're doing so in a haphazard fashion, that's going to have a negative consequence for you on exam day. So focus on not only answering the question correctly, but also how to work through the question. Finally, and most important, we are vested in your passing the exam. So please don't hesitate to contact us at any time. This is a very one-sided conversation right now, but every other conversation we have will be two-sided. You have my personal contact information, including my cell phone and my email address. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you at any time to help talk about your study approach or to help answer any content-related specific questions. So thanks very much, and good luck preparing for the Series 3.